Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. What next for Paige in WWE? I'm Oli Davis, this is Luke Owen. Welcome to WrestleRamble. This unfortunate story unfolded last Friday when PW Insider broke that Paige had been told on the previous Monday's Raw that her in-ring career was over. This stems from an incident at a December house show, the 27th, I believe, where Paige was caught in the back by a Sasha Banks kick, and Paige suffered a stinger, which isn't a reference to an injury that Sting would get, as someone incorrectly called me out for, thinking I was making a joke at Sting's career-ending expense.
Because he actually did end his career on a stinger.
Yeah. And I was like, no. And I was like, is it a well-known colloquial term? Found it on Wikipedia. A stinger is the medical term. It's not. So, yeah, I wouldn't do something so horrible. And, yeah, Paige couldn't move her extremities for a while, so her limbs. She was just down on the mat for a bit. She tried to stand up, and then she falls back down. It's uncomfortable viewing. Someone's filmed it who was in the audience. But then she walks out after a few minutes. She doesn't take the stretcher, and the match is called off. Because of her neck surgery and neck issues for the last year and a half to 2 years, really, WWE doctors quite rightly subjected her to some more tests. This is all reported, like this hasn't been announced officially. And they've decided, according to PW Insider, and the Wrestling Observer newsletter has corroborated this amongst a few other sites, that her in-ring career is over. So what? But on Raw, this week's Raw, that wasn't really addressed. All it was, she had previously been announced for the Rumble, the Women's Rumble, but now she was withdrawn. So what's going to happen to her? It's such a sad story.
It really is. Effectively, she's been Daniel Bryan. She has been
Daniel Bryan in all your future endeavours.
Yes, in the sense of we're not going to fire you. We're going to continue putting you on contract. However, we are not going to clear you to wrestle. You could go to other doctors around the world and they would say, A, you're fine, but we, as a company, don't want anyone getting injured, seriously injured on our watch. You look at what happened to Edge, what happened to Daniel Bryan. It just said, look, this is very dangerous if you get back in the ring, we doctors believe. So I'd suggest not. But according to the Wrestling Observer and PW Insider and a lot of other sources as well, that Paige is very much well liked in WWE, which is testament to the fact that she was brought back after the year that she had in 2016.
Controversy.
The controversial years.
Annus horribilis.
Yes, it was a very controversial year. Poor old Paige. I mean, I'm not putting any of the blame onto her. She was a victim of circumstances. But
I mean, there was the Alberto Del Rio relationship. There were, she would upload things where Del Rio was shooting on her current employer, saying very nasty things about WWE.
Yes.
Anyone else that would have been future endeavoured right away.
Oh yeah, if that had been Sunny, then she'd have been out the door. Not as in the weather, as in the female wrestler. I say wrestler, manager. But she is clearly well liked, Paige. So it stands to reason that WWE would like to keep her involved, perhaps in a managerial role for Absolution. Just staying there as a manager for them as a tag team, or perhaps doing the Daniel Bryan thing and putting her in the general manager role.
I didn't even think of a general manager role. That's so I've written down here manager. I think everyone's thinking, because she's such a good talker, she'd be able to get people over. She's a great ringside presence. She's sort of doing that for Absolution anyway. That's good. I also had commentator down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually that would be quite good as well, because if there's something that WWE does need, it's a female voice on commentary. Some of them actually just doesn't sound like
Beth Phoenix.
and you loved her commentary on Mixed Match Challenge, didn't you?
It was obvious commentary. It was both obvious, calling out stuff that didn't need to be called out, and then whatever she's got in front of her on a piece of paper. She was a stat machine. Moment of silence. I'm going to read out one of these pre-prepared numbers that I've just Heard.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. And with
So first go, she's probably learned.
do it with zero conviction as well. That's the best way to do it.
Most monotone possible.
Yeah,
that's always good.
There was a point while watching Mixed Match Challenge with you that you turned to me and was like, oh, I forgot Beth was doing commentary.
Yeah, she just piped up after a while.
Like, oh yeah, she's doing it. Because we got a bit excited at first because we thought it was Renee and Byron. I was like, what a great little commentary team that is. Two nerds just sitting there being nerds. This will be great fun. No, it was Michael Cole and Corey Graves and Beth Phoenix.
But back to Paige.
Back to
I
Paige.
think the general manager role is really good, and I'm going to add a wrinkle. This is all, of course, if she does have to retire. Maybe, hopefully, it's all okay.
Yeah.
This is just reported stuff, although, quite credible reported stuff. Maybe WWE or Paige's neck might miraculously heal, and she can go on to wrestle and continue to do stuff harm-free.
Yeah.
But
We'll talk about that a little bit, but I'd like
Yeah.
to hear your wrinkle in the general manager.
In the general manager. It's all about the women's revolution now. Who started the women's revolution, according to her?
Emma.
Paige, and Emma, and Mae Young.
And Nikki Bella.
Mae Young definitely did all of the stuff. But if you gave Paige, she could be a specific authority figure role for the Knockouts division.
Not the Knockouts division.
So I'm making a joke about when Brooke Hogan did this
Oh,
in
of course,
TNA.
I forgot all about that.
Brooke Hogan, because nepotism isn't a thing in the wrestling business.
Certainly not when Hulk Hogan's involved.
Hulk Hogan's daughter, Brooke Hogan, was the authority figure specifically for the Knockouts division, the women's division, that would be in normal speak, in non-Vince Russo speak.
They still call it the Knockouts division.
I know, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous in 2018. My favourite thing about Brooke Hogan in TNA is that she was about 2 foot taller than every single female wrestler they had. So when she was doing her authority stuff, she was just towering above everyone, and she was in heels and everything. It just made all of their female wrestlers look just so small.
And WWE don't do that. They just do it with Stephanie McMahon and the men's division.
But yeah, so going back to kind of this, is Paige actually going to retire? As you quite rightly said, there are lots of credible sources saying that she has been asked to retire, but WWE didn't make an announcement on Raw. They just said that she's going to be out at the Royal Rumble. And I said on Twitter that it feels at the moment, because they haven't made an official announcement, that they're doing everything in their power to do more tests, to do this, to do that, to do X, Y, and Z, so that they don't have to go to this extreme of saying, Paige, you have to retire at the age of 25.
Yeah.
That's the most heartbreaking thing about it. It's the age of 25, and she's just come back. She's been back about like 2 months.
A month. She came back in November.
Oh, man,
The
that's
20th of November, and the injury happened on the 27th of December.
as awful as that. And so, it feels like they are trying to do everything they possibly can. Gosh, she's 8 years younger than me. Well, no, sorry, 7 years younger than me. That's just it's heartbreaking. But yeah, but you made the very correct point, and quite a few people as well said to me on Twitter that maybe they just don't want to announce this on a random episode of Raw. Maybe they want to make a big deal out of it, like they did for the Daniel Bryan retirement speech, where you sort of announce it a week ahead of time, or you announce it a couple of days in advance to say that Daniel Bryan's going to be doing his retirement. Maybe even, and this is very wild speculation, waiting until they're back in England.
Oh, that could be that's after WrestleMania.
It's after WrestleMania. It's a long time.
May time, usually.
Yeah, it's a long old time. But Daniel Bryan, they waited until they were in. I think it was in Seattle that they did it. It was, because I know it was close.
Washington.
Yes, but Seattle and Washington
Right.
are very close to each other. I think I was actually listening to a show talking about this, how close they were. I was Hollywood Babylon talking about. Kevin Smith was talking about how Seattle and Washington are so close to each other.
Just like Michigan and like Detroit and Chicago.
Exactly, they're basically the same place. So CM Punk used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
So maybe they are just going to wait to a bigger moment or a bigger show, so that she's not going to be overshadowed by the Royal Rumble or Raw 25.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, as the promoter, you want to, and I imagine if you were in Paige's position and they're like, okay, you have to retire 100%. You don't want to just be a throwaway. I'd imagine you wouldn't want that to be a throwaway segment. You don't want it to be a backstage interview with Charlie Caruso. You want to make
Dasher.
You want to make that as big a thing as possible. So I don't think Raw 25 is the place to do it because she'll be overshadowed, but not overshadowed, but there'll be just so much stuff going on in that.
The Undertaker's coming back, Austin's coming back, DX, the architects of the Attitude Era, they're coming back. So yeah, I think Raw 25 is not the place to do it. It's going to have the most eyes on it, but it's not the right time.
The Rumble as well is, you want that to be a good, a happy women's message. Presumably, you wouldn't want it to be a downbeat with, one of our most promising female wrestlers has to retire because of an injury. But then I think they should, you want to wait on these things. You don't want to be rushed into a decision. But with Daniel Bryan, it took so long because the concussions and CTEs and brain injuries, the science isn't nowhere near as exact as it is. I'm not saying that neck injuries are completely exact, but people know a lot more about neck injuries than they do concussions. That's why it's still such a grey area. That's why 15 doctors clear Bryan to return to the ring, but one guy's like, no, you'll probably, suffer irreparable damage if you do so.
Yeah.
So, neck injuries, you can get a consensus. In fact, and have you gone back to listen to the Lillian Garcia podcast? Paige,
no, I've not actually. In fact, I didn't even listen to it first time round, but I heard it was very good.
Yeah,
I've got a big backlog of podcasts, so it's not. I'm not doing it because I'm a dick. I just haven't listened because I've got so many podcasts that I haven't listened to yet.
I'll add another one on for you.
Oh yeah,
Kevin Owens and Sami
Zayn
on my Talk is Jericho.
It's in my to-do list. Problem is, I've got like 6 episodes of Talking Simpsons that I haven't caught up on. I've just
It's not a wrestling fan.
and I just actually started the Something to Wrestle Edge episode, which is 5 hours long. So I'm about an hour into that one, so I've still got another 4 to go. And
Don't give them the plays. We're coming for you, Pritchard.
So I've got this big backlog. Also, I started listening to this podcast called I'm going to give them a shower here, Autopod Decepticast, which was a minute-by-minute breakdown of the Transformers, the animated movie, the 1986 animated movie. And I was quite enjoying it, but I've suddenly realised I'm about 20 episodes behind, which means I'm technically 20 minutes behind in the movie, and that's a lot of podcasts to catch up on.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, you're talking about
Owens
Paige.
and Sami one's good. But Paige, so this was published on the 10th of December, so... No, or what? Those Lillian Garcia ones might be live, actually, because she's got like a talk radio thing. Anyway, it was just after that I remember it was a pretty good match with Sasha Banks on Raw. And I was like, damn, Paige is back. That was a fun little match. And it went a long time. And Paige brings that up. It's like, my doctor, Joseph Ryby, I can't remember his exact name, said to me, you shouldn't wrestle again. But then she says, but he's overly cautious. He doesn't get the wrestler's mentality. He says Nikki Bella shouldn't wrestle again because, of course, Nikki also has neck issues. She underwent neck surgery a while ago. But Paige tells Lillian, like, look, I had a match against Sasha Banks just the other day on Raw. It went 20 minutes. I'm fine. And then you're like, oh, man. And there's been a bit of a backlash against Sasha Banks as well.
Yeah.
I think it was this was not intentional.
No, it's a freak accident. It's like the D'Lo Droz thing. These things happen. The accidents happen in the ring. It's, as wrestling promoters or wrestlers would say, it ain't ballet, folks. It's a very physical sport, and sometimes these things happen.
Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer Radio, however, got quite angry, not at the performers in the match, but at the agent who put together that spot. Why would you have a spot in the match where you would kick someone from behind who has a neck injury? So there's an argument for that. I never, don't really think about that sometimes. You should structure matches around pre-existing injuries.
Yes.
Be a smarter way to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what next for Paige? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We've got some crap gimmicks for you now from Jumping the Smark. That's a good name.
It's a great name, isn't
on
it?
Twitter. Was this in multiple tweets?
No, he sent me a DM.
Oh, he DM'd you.
Yeah.
Luke's open.
My DMs are open. I do read as many as I possibly can, but I do get a lot. Humble brag.
My lady partner works with a young person.
Oh yeah.
And this is great because I get all the lingo.
Oh, interesting.
All the youth speak via my lady partner from this person. And apparently, just in casual conversation the other day, so I'm going to snap that.
Is that a Snapchat
It
thing?
is a Snapchat thing.
Man, I'm so good at
I
this.
didn't get that. It took me a while.
Yeah?
Me and my lady partner play a game. We're like, go on, guess what this one means. Didn't get it.
I mean, I'll be honest. Snapchat's a thing I've heard of. I don't know what it is.
You've never sent a dick video on a Snapchat?
No.
Haven't lived, my friend.
No, you use Skype for that.
No, because obviously I don't do that before a big scandal erupts. When I used to use it, not just to send funny things. One of the things I remember back in the days when I had Snapchat and actually used it. Because when it was first released, it was a source of great fun with all my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I did a thing for my mate whose birthday it was, and I had a Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure, and I had a towel draped over a chair, like a table chair. And he was underneath it, and I played Stone Cold's entrance music on my laptop.
Yeah.
And the glass broke as the towel came down, and then Stone Cold came out. Happy birthday to you! So that's but then it deletes forever. It goes into the ether.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So once you've watched it, it would go.
Oh, right.
Which is why so many people supposedly use it for the old dick pic.
Oh, because then, unless you're quick with the old trigger finger to snap it.
Snap it.
Yeah.
Snap that.
Snap that. Maybe that's what it means.
So
okay, well, thank you for explaining what Snapchat is.
That was a bit of a tangent off of DM.
Well,
this is where we lose all the viewers. That's why we don't ramble that much anymore. But there's a bit of rambling for you.
However, this came in via Twitter, and I know what that one is.
Yeah, it's the bird one.
Yeah.
His name is Belated Bobby. He is a blue-eyed babyface, but he loses all of his matches by roll-up because he doesn't realise the opening bell has rung. However, when he loses, he thinks the final bell is the opening bell and beats down his opponent ruthlessly, leading people to believe he is a heel. Also, if some heels are beating someone down, after the beatdown is over, he runs in and attacks the person in the match that looks like the heel from aforementioned beatdown, and therefore starts a feud. Belated Bobby.
I quite like the general conceit of the gimmick. It's a bit Jesse and Festus.
Yes.
That was the first thing that sprung to mind. That classic WWE gimmick.
Luke Gallows.
Luke Gallows in one of his original WWE roles.
I used to really enjoy Jesse and Festus.
Jesse and Festus was at a time when I was just like, WWE's the worst. And I was very much like, TNA, TNA. I was one of those guys that at WWE shows that would chant TNA because I'm clearly cool.
Well, I was in a similar, because that's when TNA was really hot.
TNA was actually cool.
Yeah. But I would still watch WWE.
That was 12 years ago.
Wow. But I would still heavily criticise it. But I would still watch WWE. And one of my favourite things in that time was Festus.
Yeah?
Yeah, I still unironically enjoyed it. I just, when he hulked out, I was like, this guy's amazing. I kind of wish he was like that all the time, and there wasn't the kind of underlying jabbing, poking fun at people with mental disabilities.
I remember there's an episode of Something to Wrestle, giving them another plug, when Conrad asked Bruce Pritchard about Jesse and Festus, and Bruce was very upset about the gimmick because essentially it's just like, oh, you're just making fun of people from the South. But because that's what...
Was it a South thing?
I think that's what it was.
But he acted like he was almost lobotomized, and then the bell rang, and then it turned into a cool killing machine, like that bit.
Yeah.
But then he was smiley lobotomized afterwards.
I believe, as Bruce Pritchard would tell you, it was a Southern thing. It was poking fun at people from the South. That's what Vince finds hilarious. That and stutters, two of Vince's favourite things. You know that Vince finds speech impediments hilarious.
Wow.
Was why Cody Rhodes went through and Jack Swagger went through extensive speech therapy so that Vince wouldn't pick on them.
Oh my word! Be a star. So yeah, I think I like the opening bit of this, that the blue-eyed babyface, super babyface, is just getting the bells mixed up. I don't like. It gets confusing when you make him a heel.
Well, I think what he's not saying is that he's making them a heel. The crowd thinks he's a heel because after the match he's beating someone down who's quite fairly won the match, but he is still he still thinks he's a blue-eyed babyface. I kind of like that dynamic. I don't quite get the second half of it, but I quite like the first half.
I don't. I think he should realise his mistake immediately, and being a super blue-eyed babyface, just put his hands on his hips and goes, shucks, I did it again.
Okay, yeah.
Every goddamn time I get the bells mixed up.
Yeah.
But there's a thematic thing here to these crap gimmicks. and I'm gonna bring it up at the end.
Oh, interesting.
So Gav the Gothic Chav is next.
This was also via Twitter.
Which made... I read this.
Okay, so he did give some background on this. This is based on the Christmas episodes, when you gave me, as my final Christmas present, a singlet.
Yes.
Which you can see in the Christmas episode towards the end.
Which Mrs. Owens enjoys very much.
She had no words, and yet so many questions.
Didn't have time for words.
But so this is kind of based around that.
But Gav the Gothic Chav is the name of the guy who sent it in.
Yeah.
That sounds like a gimmick I want to hear. The Gothic Chav.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for something. I was like, well, when's this guy going to become a goth or a chav?
Oh, I
that.
see. No, that's
So,
who sent it in.
The actual gimmick. Luke Owens, changed slightly for kayfabe/logic reasons,
Oh, but you say that, but that's what people think my name is anyway.
is his name, but for his character and in-ring persona to develop, it shall be stylized as Luke Zero Wins. So that will look like
wins.
Owens. Because he, in his singlet and headgear, think Michael Cole, and all of his naivety, is fresh out of college and has zero professional wrestling background whatsoever. He is winless. As a play on Kurt Angle, he can be dubbed the Olympic non-medalist on account of his lack of experience and how green he is, something that the likes of Beastmaster and Fishmonger regularly remind him of passive-aggressively. But Luke is a babyface and he wants to learn. He doesn't see he's getting ribbed. His in-ring style is clearly amateur with no moves as such, purely grapples and takedowns he's learnt from college, which results in getting the wind knocked out of him with everything from a suplex to a body slam because he's not used to it and ultimately loses his matches.
The best thing about this gimmick is the name.
Yes.
Wins is the best thing about it.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, this is... I'm worried that people are now submitting crap gimmicks for wrestlers who aren't very good. But that's what both of these are. They're both rubbish wrestlers. That's not... They're meant to be rubbish characters.
We've had a lot of jobbers as of late, because
Yeah.
that's a jobber. The Jumping the Smark sent in a jobber. I think Dan, the mayor of Painesville, sent in a couple of jobbers.
He is a jobber.
He's not. He's not a jobber. He's a manager of jobbers now. So, but we haven't had any. We haven't had any champions like the Fishmonger or the Beastmaster
Or WrestleBot.
or WrestleBot. Yeah.
We want bad character gimmicks. Or the glamorous fam, the hand puppet tag team.
Yes.
Those are the ones, not just people who can't wrestle. It's time for the worst segment ever, Great Balls of Botch, where we just talk about stuff we said wrong previously.
Well, I mean, it doesn't happen often, Ollie, but when it does happen, we do like to point out our mistakes.
Because you all do it for us. We thank you so much.
There was a comment left on yesterday's video. Sorry, I was going to cut you off there. There's a comment left on yesterday's video, which was, God, Luke Owen corrects Ollie on every little mistake he makes. He's such a pedant. Makes him feel really pretentious. And my sudden thought was like, I mean, A, I don't think I do because I'm the one who's usually getting things wrong. But B, if I don't, someone else will.
Yeah, we have to correct each other, but a lot still seeps through.
Well,
if you want to hear a good correcting story, download Wednesday's podcast for the exclusive corrections.
I got a message from my friend, my old uni housemate, who loved your story in the Barbers. He thought it was hilarious.
That's
it was
good to know.
It was a great story.
It's infuriating. So first up on Wednesday, on Monday's episode of Raw, thank you for all the screen grabs and pictures and images. Kevin Dunn was in the production truck.
It was a shoot production truck.
Like I said, I just didn't see Kevin Dunn there.
No, I didn't see Kevin Dunn either.
Because he doesn't have a reflection. So, it's hard to spot sometimes.
Yeah, apparently Ross pointed it out, but I didn't spot him there. I was actually keeping an eye out for him.
I was like, oh, where's Dunn?
Where's Dunn? But I actually forgot my favourite part of that segment, though, which was when...
Kurt Angle's delivery of the production.
Oh,
tracks.
no, I thought this was even better. It was because it was purely improvised and shows how great Braun is at the old improvisation when he was too big to walk through the door frame. So he walked into the door frame and then said, and I quote, "Stupid door."
Yes.
That's so good.
It's great. He should leave like a brawn-shaped hole in most doors.
Why didn't they do that? That'd have been so much better. Like next time, just walking through walls. Doesn't even need doors. Oh, that'd be awesome.
And the second Great Balls of Botch is from last Saturday's episode I observed that I'm worried about Velveteen Dream on the main roster because he's not that tall.
Is that what you said? Because there were so many comments that just said Velveteen Dream is tall, and I had no recollection of A, us even talking about the Velveteen Dream, or you saying that he was small.
Yeah, so, I mean, in my head, he's short. A lot of people are like, you're mixing up with Lio Rush, because, of course, they used to be tag team partners before WWE. I swear I have seen a picture with someone who I know is 6 foot, and Velveteen Dream is like 4 or 5 inches below them. But enough of you have said it where I'm willing, reluctantly, to say, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe his build height of 6'3" is...
That was big air quotes for podcast listeners.
That's become your catchphrase.
I know, mate. I like it.
Is because, like, Apollo Crews' build is 6'1", 260 pounds or something, when I think that's demonstrably false when he stands near anyone else.
Because you think he's about the same height as me.
Yeah.
About 5'10".
I reckon he's shorter.
You reckon he's shorter than me?
He's shorter.
Yeah?
Yeah. I would never take any like weight or height as legitimate that WWE put out.
No, it's a kayfabe thing. You know, Andre the Giant wasn't 7 foot tall. But
Velveteen Dream is tall. So elsewhere in the news world, it's actually been a pretty busy week.
It's been a big week for news.
Yeah, not for the Anoa'i family tree.
No.
Jey Uso was arrested for a DWI, not a DUI, as I said. Apparently, I don't know what the difference is.
Driving
under the influence, or driving with the influence
while intoxicated.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, that sounds good words.
Yeah,
I prefer driving with the influence. I'm like, that's my buddy Luke. He's a bad influence.
I thought you just meant that Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian are in the background with you. In the back seat.
What are they called?
They were called Bad Influence in TNA.
That's it. They're called The Addiction in Ring of Honor.
That's it, yeah.
With the old
Appletinis, yeah.
Oh, what a gimmick. They were so good in TNA as a tag team.
But yeah, so Jey was arrested. And DWI was Beer Money's finishing move.
Right.
Driving. I think it was like drinking while investing, I think it stood for.
TNA was good, remember? We remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. A lot of people give Russo a lot of stick, but sometimes he comes up with the goods. Sometimes he has a little bit of nugget in. He has a nugget of good in there.
It's a quantity game, isn't it? You got to shuck enough stuff over a probably too long career, and you're going to get DWI puns pretty well.
Absolutely, a 2-decade career, but in that there has been a smattering of like good puns.
For every major erection or whatever,
general erection,
you're gonna have a good one.
Drinking while investing.
So yeah, Jey was reportedly alleged. Well, I mean the mugshots are out, so I suppose it's true. He was arrested, which I nearly swore then. Stupid thing to do. I'm not a fan of people who drink and drive because do whatever you want to yourself. It's very harmful to other people, potentially.
I notice it a lot in American TV shows where they go out to bars and that and drink and then drive home. And
it's not cool. Get an Uber.
It's really not. But it makes me think, it's like obviously I'm not an American. I don't know if you've noticed, but I am not an American. What? Yeah, I was very much born in I was born in the United Kingdom. I was wondering if this is like a regular American thing, that because I think American beer is weaker, that they think it's fine to go driving after they're drunk.
I wouldn't be so bold to make rash generalizations like Luke
is. I was merely asking. I was asking our American viewers. I wasn't saying like, hey,
it was a loaded question.
I wasn't like, hey, do you know what Americans do? Do you know what Americans bloody love doing?
Well, I'm also not going to lecture too much, but what Jey has done very stupidly is put himself in a position where he could be reprimanded by WWE. He has a 2 out of 3 Falls title defense coming up right round the corner with Royal Rumble next Sunday. And yeah, so it's not even more stupid because it's not just him who gets punished. Fair enough, take the punishment. It's also your brother, Jimmy, who's his co-tag team partner.
Yeah, this is a really bad news for the Usos as well, especially because they're like one of the hottest acts on SmackDown at the moment.
They're doing great work.
It's great work, and it's really not a good thing. This is not good news.
So you think they're going to lose the titles?
I mean,
to American Beta.
You could probably make a safe bet, considering that look what happened with Rob Van Dam when him and Sabu were were pulled over for similar things, like what happened to Jack Swagger when he was pulled over for similar things. There is a history in WWE for, I mean, and in fact as well, that when RVD and Sabu were pulled over, at least according to Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon found the story hilarious because he was like, they pulled you over for that? It's nothing. But because the company has a reputation...
See the briefcase of money I had.
I was going to say, look at what Vince McMahon got away with in the 1980s. But because the company has a reputation and is a publicly traded company, they have to reprimand things like this. So it is... You could put a safe bet that the Usos will not be tag champs walking out of Royal Rumble.
And another potential spoiler. So yeah, that's one Royal Rumble match that might have the result given away. But tell us about this Fastlane one, which is just stunning.
This is a fascinating little story because this original story actually broke out over the Christmas period. I think it actually was almost like Christmas Day or Boxing Day. I'm going to forget the name of the arena now that's holding WWE
Nationwide.
Fastlane. Nationwide, thank you, is the Nationwide Arena. So if you are looking to avoid Royal Rumble spoilers, maybe skip ahead to the quickfire questions, although we have got a couple of other news stories that we want to talk about here. News stories, I should say. But the rumours... So, the Nationwide Arena released this card over Christmas that said, book your tickets for WWE Fastlane with the main event that will see AJ Styles defend his WWE Championship in a fatal 5-way match against Shinsuke Nakamura, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. So a lot of people said, this means that Nakamura's not winning the Rumble. This means that Kevin and Sami aren't going to win the championship, blah, 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 blah. But that's card subject to change. These things happen. A lot of these shows always put out a card that says hey, buy tickets because you could see this. Card subject to change. These things change around all the time. However, we now are getting into a point now where it feels like WWE are nailing down their WrestleMania matches.
It's always around mid-January where things stop changing as much.
Yes.
Undertaker and Cena's pretty much confirmed now, I would say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I reckon Braun, Triple H... maybe Ronda Rousey. Yep.
So, we're kind of in a situation now where if something is happening, if something is being announced, it probably is, they're going to stay the course. And this got very interesting when Nationwide Arena in Ohio, I think it is, released a video to say, hey, buy your tickets now, because not only is John Cena going to be appearing at the show,
fancy voiceover guy as well,
and full graphics for this fatal 5-way between AJ Styles, Nakamura, Randy Orton, Owens and Zayn, seemingly confirming that is going to be the main event of the Fastlane pay-per-view, which is the last SmackDown Live, as the only SmackDown Live pay-per-view between Rumble and WrestleMania. So if this is the case, if that is the main event that they're going with for Fastlane, it likely indicates that Nakamura is not winning the Royal Rumble, nor are Owens and Zayn winning at the Royal Rumble. Which, I didn't think Owens and Zayn were going to win anyway, but I would have put some pretty good money down. I'm not a betting man because I think betting is foolish, but I would have put some money down on Nakamura winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's a similar thing happened last year. Well, not a similar thing, but Bray Wyatt, we thought, SmackDown's got the Elimination Chamber in 2017. So a Raw guy's going to win
the
Rumble, right? But Randy Orton ended up winning the Rumble, a SmackDown guy. And you had the SmackDown main Elimination Chamber where Bray Wyatt's one setting up their all-time classic WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
So, but there's no way around this if Nakamura is in that match too. It's surplus if he wins the Rumble to get a shot at Mania, but gets a 5-way shot in March or February.
Yeah, it's March, I think. Yeah, it's March 5th, I think, something like that.
So
or March 11th.
Very confusing. And why would John Cena?
Here's the question then. So if it's not those 4 guys, I shouldn't say, aren't 2 of them aren't in, but Randy Orton and Nakamura aren't winning the Royal Rumble. Thank God, because I don't want to see Orton win the Rumble 2 years in a row. But do we still think that Roman Reigns is... I still think that Roman Reigns isn't winning the Rumble. I think that he's going to win at Elimination Chamber, and that will grant him his shot at Lesnar come WrestleMania. Unless... Is Lesnar booked for Elimination Chamber? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not off the top of my head.
So there could be something there, maybe, but I still don't feel that Reigns is winning the Rumble. So if it's not Reigns, then is it a SmackDown guy? If it's a SmackDown guy, who's it going to be?
Mojo Rawley.
You reckon it's going to be bloody Baron Corbin, is it? After what I said on Wednesday's show, it's going to be bloody Baron Corbin. It's not going to be Baron Corbin.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I guess we'll have our predictions up next Friday.
Yeah.
So stick around. Maybe we'll come up with something. And finally, speaking of Royal Rumble, there's been some new WWE signees.
Just on the last thing, a lot of people, because I know that some people are going to say this in the comments as well,
Yeah.
current theory at the moment is that it's going to be that Balor is going to win the Royal Rumble, but challenge AJ instead rather than challenge Lesnar.
Tasty.
That
I
I could get behind.
Or maybe Nakamura wins at Fastlane. You do some nonsense where AJ wants his rematch at Mania. Nakamura, AJ, Balor three-way.
Tasty, mate. Nom 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 nom.
So finally, WWE finally announced the signings of Ricochet, War Machine and Candice LeRae this week on Tuesday after months and months of speculation and rumours and reports.
Yeah.
So any of those could pop up in the Royal Rumble, but I actually doubt it.
Well, they were all pictured at the Performance Center in their NXT T-shirts, which would suggest that they're all going to be doing the NXT direction before going up to the main roster, which I'm perfectly fine with. As someone, I was having a chat with someone on Twitter earlier today about like who I'd like to see War Machine have some feud with, and I was like, man, like War Machine, Authors of Pain, just 4 massive dudes doing massive dude things like that sounds great fun to me.
Chucking heavy machinery.
Oh, mate, Otis Dozovic, as tall as he is wide. Oh, that'd be great. And the Street Profits, the best tag team in TN and NXT at the moment.
You got there.
I got there.
Quickfire questions round. It's a thing. We've done it 3 times now, so it's a thing.
I love it.
All from Twitter. Cameron Hall asks, do you think Lashley or EC3 will be at the Rumble?
No, because I still think they're under TNA contract. Those leaving matches were going to air in March or April. So no.
Well, that's a good point, actually.
I don't think either. I think they're probably still under contract.
Contractually,
Yeah.
I read that there's no problem. There's no non-compete. But would WWE want EC3 showing up at the Royal Rumble while he's also appearing on TNA television? Did not think of that. I'm going to say no Lashley, yes EC3. Alfonso Cruz, favourite video game currently?
I'm not really playing anything at the moment, but I suppose Super Metroid, because that's currently what I'm playing on the.
Is that an old game?
It is. I'm playing it on my SNES Classic. So yeah, Super Metroid is my current favourite video game.
Man, what was the? So I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn this year, but then I stopped halfway through. I'm not very good with completing.
I don't think that was
games.
this year either. I'm pretty sure you did that.
I started playing it this year. It was definitely
this year. Oh, okay.
But what's that game? That's small. The short game. I completed that one.
Inside was that was a great game.
World of Stew. Who will be number 15 in the men's Royal Rumble? That's a good question.
Oh man, this would be good betting odds. I'm going to say Apollo Crews.
Kalisto. Connor, Braun and Ronda versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Good idea or bad idea for WrestleMania?
I'd rather see Braun and Triple H in a singles match and Ronda and Charlotte in singles matches.
Totally agree. Karen Peterson, she's our
Queen of NXT.
Queen of NXT. Who is swafter? More swaft, most swaftest. So this is...
It's a tricky one.
Out of who?
Yeah. I don't know that one.
Everyone?
Yeah, I have to skip that one.
Who is swafter?
Who is swafter?
And who's more swaft than that? And who's most swaftest? I think Karen just wanted to say some fun words.
I think so. Although most swaftest is Montez Ford.
Jeff Goldblum. Caesar R. Who is your favourite comic book hero? Should we answer for each other?
Oh, yeah, well, I think you definitely know mine. I think I could take a good guess of yours.
So, Daredevil for Luke.
Correct. Green Lantern.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. Shivam Sharma. Should WWE induct... Jeff Johns, Green Lantern. Should WWE induct wrestlers from different companies into the Hall of Fame? For example, can they induct Minoru Suzuki? He's a living legend and one of the best of all time. I doubt Vince knows who he is.
No, I would say that WWE should induct wrestlers from different companies if they wanted it to be a legitimate Hall of Fame, which I don't think they do. I mean, otherwise they would have inducted Kevin Nash as Kevin Nash, not as Diesel. And they would have inducted Alundra Blaze under a different name.
Yeah, I would say either my answer ranges from no to it doesn't matter because it's the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it doesn't really
WWE.
matter. I do like it when people get their knickers in a twist over the Hall of Fame, because it really doesn't matter.
Aaron Sanders, do you think The Rock will appear at Raw 25?
Depends if he's making a film. He's probably got 1,000 in production. I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say yes via video message.
Ooh.
Sachin Holm, will Hulk Hogan return to WWE on Raw 25?
No, I think he's going to return at WrestleMania.
Oh, I'm going to say no, but I'm not going to say when. Met, do you think Triple H will be a better boss than Vince McMahon?
Yes.
Yeah. Zach McElroy, could Orton versus Cena at Mania be good? Could it be done correctly?
What was your answer there?
No. It's the well's dry. The well is so dry.
Yeah, that is probably one of the more unappealing matches I could see at WrestleMania this year.
That's all we've got time for today's episode, though, so please click the videos that have just appeared below us to catch up with the latest WrestleRamble or WrestleTalk news. Subscribe to this channel. Please pledge on Patreon. This has been Luke Owen. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Rambling.